Professor.
What's up, Carlin?
Hey, I just got kicked off my internet and now it's back up. So I'm sorry.
No worries.
Got ring 3 and now I'm no longer.
You got booted out. Huh? Okay.
Sorry.
Don't take it personal. All right, we're bringing it back here in a minute.
Okay. I'm sure it was great dialogue.
All right, I think we got 7 more folks. Oh, there they are. Here they come. Okay, good. We're all back. Everybody back. Any thoughts that your colleagues shared that struck you as interesting thoughts about the difference between norm reference and criterion referenced assessments? Anybody want to share with the greater good? See, I wish I had like virtual popsicle sticks. I could just call on you. Keep you on your toes.
So our group talked about the differences, like a growth chart, like at a pediatrician office, where the kids are in a certain percentile. Doesn't mean necessarily whether they're healthy or not. But a point was brought up. If they're in like the 5th percentile, okay, we know we have a little bit of a problem there, and what can we do?
Right. So, but it's a comparison to other kids their age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that gives you data, and I love it. It's funny how education and medical field align more than most people think. But yeah, that's a good comparison. Whereas let's take that same analogy and let's make that criterion referenced. That would be like, in order to be in the NBA, you have to be at least 6'7". Right? That's setting a point where that would eliminate a certain group of people that might be very talented, but might just be a little shorter. And so there's some pros and cons, in my opinion, of each of these. Right? It's nice to when I'm looking at norm reference data, the follow-up question I always have after I look at the data is like, okay, if my students are scoring in the 50th percentile, I always ask, okay, well, where are the students who are scoring in the 99th percentile? Okay, that's my first question. Okay, where are they? Are they here in California? Are there students in the 90th percentile or above that match the demographics of my students? Where are they? And I'm gonna go to that school. I'm gonna call that principal. I'm gonna find out what are students who are just like mine in almost every way. What are they doing to be successful, as successful as they are? Right. So there's a lot of benefits with norm referenced data in that way. Criterion reference data, and I heard some good conversations. Like one of the conversations I heard was, okay, if the target's 2,500 to meet the standards, what about that kid who scores 2,499? Does that make them a failure? No, because what's nice about criterion referenced and norm referenced is you can still measure growth, right? Well, that student maybe was a 2,499, but maybe they were like a 2,350 last year. So they actually almost made 149 points growth. That's phenomenal. So you still get good data, but you're right. They didn't hit that floating target of proficient. So you're going to get dinged on according to the media and some things in the government and things like that. So that's the world we live in. That's the game we have to play. We don't like it, but we do it. And the thing is just do what's best for kids, and you can't lose. All right. Characteristics of useful assessments. One, they're always standards-based. If you're not measuring the standards, then what the heck are you doing? They're continuous. They're ongoing. You don't want to just do it one time, right? You're assessing as much as you need to in order to modify your instruction in order to get good results. So when somebody says, well, how much should you assess? Should it be 2% of your school year? Or how many? There's no answer to that. How often do you need to assess in order to modify your instruction in order to get high levels of achievement? That answer might be different every year, depending on your class. It's varied, means it's differentiated, it's embedded in the instruction, and it's used to guide your instruction, right? So think of it this way. Formative assessment informs the way you teach. It informs your instruction, okay? Provides data to teachers about teaching and to students about learning. It's not all about just getting that data for your own use, but think about your kids and that feedback you're providing them. And remember, what is data? Everybody, what is data? I had a slide with a kid yelling.
It's your student's voice.
It's the voice of the students, right? So just remember that one. Good. Different types of assessments here. We got traditional, we got portfolios, we got performance-based. We've covered some of these things. We got tests, quizzes, assignments, standardized tests. Portfolios are a great way to assess because there's a lot of reflection because you can see growth. You can set goals for students at the beginning of the year and help them attain that goal. There's a tremendous sense of satisfaction and self-efficacy when students set goals and achieve goals. I mean, even with us, how good do you feel when you set a weight loss goal and you actually meet it, right? So that's a big deal. Performance-based assessments, of course, collaboration. We talked about performance tasks, things like that. They're usually project-based, and it measures application and whether or not students can transfer concrete knowledge into abstract ways. Teacher-created tests, you might see essays, restricted responses, extended response tests. You might see multiple choice, matching, true, false, closed response. That's not a misspell. Closed is when they have that blank, right? So you might have a whole paragraph and it's fill in the blanks in the paragraph. That's what closed response means. And then short answer. Performance-based assessments, portfolios, papers, reports, projects, presentations, products. And that was unintentional to make them all start with P's. It just happened that way. Portfolios are a collection of students' work over time, again, that demonstrates mastery over time of a specific criteria that should be standards-based, right? I love portfolios. Art portfolios, music portfolios. There's so many different ways you can create portfolios as a form of assessment. You can use them for process to evaluate process, product, and outcome, growth, writing. Best work, have students choose their best work. Journals are a great example of a portfolio. A year-long work portfolio on different subject matters. Career portfolios, think about that. I mean, I've been in the business for 20 years, so my resume looks a little different, but my resume is essentially a portfolio. Here's what I've done, here's what I've accomplished, here's where I've succeeded. If I write a good resume, it always highlights the best stuff. And it shows how I've grown in my career. And then standards-based. When you're designing a performance assessment, you want to start with standards, and you want to devise a task that would involve application of the standards. You want to determine the criteria for evaluating. These are tough to create, and fortunately, a lot of people have created them out there for you. But if you want to, if you've got a background in something, if you're teaching, career technical education, this is a great field to create performance-based assessments. There's some resources out there to help you do so. Rubrics, right? So anytime you've got a performance, you want to give students the target that they're shooting for. It's always, or anchor papers or something, or here's an example and a non-example of what I'm looking for. There's nothing worse than somebody saying, here, I'm going to assess you on something that I'm not going to tell you what I'm really want from you. And that's why rubrics are great. So decide on the number of things that you want to, the different levels, what order are they going to appear? You think about the quality across the top and the dimensions down the side. So if I'm doing writing, it might be spelling on the top row, and it might be grammar, syntax. Did they address the question? Did they, was there good flow, author's voice? That would be the dimensions. And then a 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top, a 1, and you'd have to define each of those dimensions, the levels of quality within each dimension. Now, it's a lot of work, and that's a good activity for a grade level to do and to create one time. But rubrics are very, very powerful when you're grading something subjective, right? When it's not something that's true or false or something you can correct easily. A rubric is nice because if we're thinking in terms of a PLC, and the goal of a PLC is to compare data with a colleague so you can find best practices. You want to make sure your data matches. And so writing is a perfect area where you want to rubricize the assessment, because what happens is if I'm grading my own students' writing and another teacher's grading their students' writing, well, it's going to be subjective, right? What am I looking for compared to what are they looking for? But if you create a grade level rubric and you do peer evaluation where you bring all the students writing to like a grade level meeting and you all write the score and then you take the average, now you're getting similar data. You're creating a common formative assessment. You have similar data. Now you can have real discussions about the results. And so if I've done that and I take the data, and let's say my colleague students, 73% of their students were 4, and in my class, 92% of my students were a 2, I'm going to have some good conversations with my colleague on how are you teaching writing? Can I come in and observe you? And that's what the PLC is all about. Okay. So the California Assessment System, it's called the CASP Performance. Let's not get into the weeds of, that's probably even changed every year. So many other statewide assessments. Let's see here. There's resources. Does anybody have any questions about the CASP or the SBAC assessment? I don't want to, it's kind of stuff that you really don't need to know unless you want to know. Yeah. Let's see here. Summative assessments. Well, the CASP is mandatory grades 3 through 8 and grade 11. It's administered during the last 12 weeks of the school year. It's computer adaptive. That's a good term that you should know. Computer adaptive means that this is pretty cool stuff. As the students take the assessment, if they get it right, it gets harder. If they get it wrong, it gets a little easier. And what happens is it finds an algorithm where it gives you with a plus or minus with a standard deviation, it'll give you a level where the students are performing. And so it's not, it's pretty cool. I love giving computer adaptive tests, and that the SBAC is computer adaptive. So as students are like, this is brutal, I say, that just means you're doing good, hopefully. But that's what I always tell my students. If they say, man, this is really getting hard, it's usually because it's getting into a higher grade level or stuff that we haven't taught them. I'm going to just fly through this because I don't even know why I've included it in my slideshow anymore. We can't do anything about it. This is what's on the CASP, and whether you know about it or not doesn't change anything. So if you want to know something more about the CASP test, call me. Okay. So the attendance question for this week, I want you to take a look at that link right there. It's a video, and it's about, is there too much testing in the public schools? And I want you to just let's not start an online argument, but I want to know your very brief opinion. I'm not a big fan of opinions. I try not to share mine as much as possible. I know I'm a professor, so I kind of have to once in a while. I try to stay as objective as possible in what I teach. But opinions, this is a good one to share. Are we testing too much? Why or why not? What did you think about the video after you watch it? So give me 2 or 3 sentences, and that'll be your attendance question for the week. Okay, we only have 6 minutes left. If you want to take the SBAC, let's see. Somebody want to, I'll do that for you. Hold on. I can't highlight it. If somebody want to paste that link into the chat. Hold on, I'll do it. I just have to close, Control C, Control V. There you go. There it is. And then let me restart my slideshow. Or not restart, but there we go. Yeah, that wasn't so hard. See? Okay. Come on, come on. See, now it's not working. Dang it. Let's go. Okay, well, the next slide is a link to the student. Oh, wow, it's like it froze up. Can you still hear me? Good. Okay, I'm thinking my slideshow just totally froze up. See, I shouldn't have pasted the link in. You guys messed me up. Dang it. No, here we go. Let me go to the next slide. All right, here we go. All right. So if you want to try the SBAC and the grade level that you want to teach, if that link's not working, I'll take a look and try to find something for you. Otherwise, just send me your thoughts on, is there too much assessing? It was just the attendance question, so not like it was an assignment or anything. All right. So if you want to check out practicing the Smarter Balance at a grade level that you're interested in teaching, here's the link for that. Check it out. It is pretty cool to see what your kids are going to see. It's frustrating. If you've never done that as a parent, it's good to do. It's hard work. And so, and it's good to see as a teacher because it's going to show you that you need to present your content in a way that's comprehensible so your students can do well. We don't want to teach to the test, but if it's a good test, there's nothing wrong with doing that. So give that a shot if you want to. And then looking ahead, due by Sunday, your signature assignment is due. Discussion board responses, journal response, and your WebQuest design project, step number 2. I loved a lot of your topics on your WebQuest. So good luck with that. I'm interested in seeing those. Those are always fun for me. So, all right, I'm going to spend the last 4 minutes just briefly talking to you about PLCs, professional learning communities, coined by Richard and Becky Dufour, D-U-F-O-U-R. The gurus. I had the privilege of meeting Richard Dufour a few years ago at a conference, and he's one of my idols. A lot of kids grow up with posters of Major League Baseball players or Michael Jordan on their wall. I had Richard Dufour and Bob Marzano. No, I'm just kidding. That wasn't until I turned 25. But anyway, awesome, brilliant man who talked about really planning everything we do around 4 essential questions. And the 4 essential questions are, what do we want students to learn, right? So identifying an objective. How will we know they learned it? That means creating a common formative assessment. And that means the word common formative assessment means it's not just you. It's you and your grade level team or you and your department, right? Common assessment. So what do we want students to learn? How will we know they learned it? What are we going to do if they don't learn it? So what's your plan for kids who don't get it? And then what are we going to do if they already know it? What's your plan for kids who do get it? Those 4 questions, if they drive everything you do, and if you put yourself on a cycle, a collaborative cycle where every week, I'm telling you, you can carve out 45 minutes to an hour and answer those 4 questions, you will see drastic achievement changes in your instruction, in your school and your grade level. Again, what do we want students to know? How will we know they learned it? What are we going to do if they don't learn it? What are we going to do if they already know it? And so what do you want students to know? We've built some background on that, right? Take a standard, break it into teachable objectives. Don't just pick any standard. Identify essential standards. What is that we want our students to know? We want our students to be able to divide fractions, okay? How are we going to know if they learned it? I'm creating a test. It's 5 questions long. The first question is just a basic one, but the complexity gets deeper. What am I going to do with the kids who don't get it? Well, here's the plan. We're going to run intervention groups. I'm going to have this student trade classes. I'll take the high kids, you take the low kid, whatever your plan is. How about the kid? And then you have a plan. So if you put that in a cycle, and it's cyclical teaching, and that's what you're doing, you're going to be a rock star. So that's PLC which is months and years of training in 4 minutes. You're welcome. All right, everybody, that's it for tonight's lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. 2 weeks left. I can't believe it. You've been a great class. Really enjoy reading the work you do. And I hope you're enjoying the class. And we'll talk to you on that web question. Okay. Send me an email, Angie, and we can take care of that. All right. Everybody good? Have a great night. Oh, sorry. I'll take care of that. It's been a busy week, Angie. Peace out, everybody.
Are you around for a couple of questions?
Sure.
I'm still concerned about the fact that I am not able to observe anybody and writing that part of the paper.